This is how the flood story begins. As it appears in the Bible, all humanity died in the flood. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created. Genesis 6 verse 7. But mysteriously there were survivors, the giants who survived the flood. We will attempt to explain this through interpretations and explanations from various verses in the Bible. King Og of Bashan and his brother Sion both survived the flood. Og perched on a tree, one of the ladders of the ark, and made a commitment to Noah and his sons, promising them that he will be their slave forever. One of the verses that mentions the giants who survived the flood is the verse where the 12 spies of the Israelites after the Exodus from Egypt informed the Israelites that they had seen Nephilim, giants, in the land of Israel. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Numbers 13:33. And this is how one of the Bible scholars described him, the Nephilim, giants from the sons of Shemazai and Azael, who fell from the sky during the days of mankind. The Nephilim are mentioned for the first time in Genesis. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Genesis 6 verse 4. The Bible scholars interprets that the Nephilim are angels who fell from heaven to our world with the aim of correcting it during the days of Enos' generation. However, according to what is told in Genesis, they became corrupted by the beautiful daughters of men and could not conquer their desire. The bravery of these giants led them to rebel instead, as they felt invincible. And so, they brought about the downfall of the world, unleashing a flood of destruction. Og mentioned in the book of Genesis 14 verse 13 as an escaped refugee. A man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. This is an Og that escaped from the flood. We can find the name of King Og of Bashan mentioned explicitly in the Bible in one particular context, his war with the Israelites. This occurred when the Israelites were preparing to cross the Bashan on their way to the Promised Land, and King Og, the local ruler, decided to go to war against them. They turned and went up the Bashan road, and there Og the king of Bashan went out to meet them with all his people, prepared for war. The Lord said to Moses, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands, along with his whole army in his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon." So they struck him down, together with his sons and his whole army, leaving them no survivors. And they took possession of his land. Numbers 21:34-35. Moses pointed out that Og is the sole remaining remnant of the Rephaim. Rephaim is mentioned elsewhere in the Bible, as giants. They were a people strong and numerous, and as tall as the Anakites. Deuteronomy 2 verse 21. The giants, also known as the Anakites in the Bible, are believed to be the same as the Nephilim, who existed even before the flood. And if Og was one of those fallen, then he lived a long time, surviving for over 500 years. He was born before the flood and lived for nearly 40 years after the Exodus from Egypt. But how did Og manage to survive the flood? One opinion suggests that Og clung to the side of the ark. If this is true, it is possible that Noah eventually became aware of Og's presence and allowed him to join the journey on the ark. Noah planned, knowing that Og would be very tall and heavy. He positioned Og on one side of the ark, focusing the center of gravity on the other. He knew that sending Og would upset the balance of the ark, risking the lives of humans and animals. Noah asked him to bring wood for building the ark. God commanded him to build, and Og agreed on the condition that Noah would take care of all his needs. Noah brought him 3 cakes, and after eating half a cake, Og was full and went to cut down trees. The ark had to be large in order to host Noah, his wife, their 3 sons and their wives, as well as male and female pairs of all the animals and Og. On his way to bring wood, Satan encountered him and inquired, "To whom are you bringing the wood?" He replied, "Noah." The devil asked, "And what will be your reward for this?" To which he responded, "For a reward, I can eat and be satisfied. I had a cake and a half, and I was content." Then the devil asks, "You always ate cattle and sheep and were not satisfied with the food, and now you eat? He must have done witchery for you." Despite being advised not to carry the wood for him, Og chose to obey and left the bundle of wood. However, one piece was accidentally dragged along with him because it was tied to the rope he brought. Surprisingly, that single piece of wood turned out to be enough for Noah to build the entire ark. Therefore, Og's actions in his position were criminal, causing him to lose credibility in proving that he cannot be trusted. Despite having enough wood to build the entire ark, he failed to honor his agreement with Noah, displaying his fickleness and unreliability. Noah did not see Og as a representative of his worldview, and he did not want any association with him in any way. This is because Og was not among the righteous of that generation, and was likely saved by gratitude for the fact that the entire ark was built from the same wood he brought. And, particularly in a task on which the future of all humanity and the animal world depends on. Noah was not only righteous, but also wise. When a person makes a mistake once, it serves as a lesson for the future. However, if they fail to learn from their mistake and repeat it, it speaks directly about their character. Despite his involvement in building the ark, he lived for 1,000 years. Additionally, he was blessed to live for 1,000 years after warning Abraham about the war with 4 kings. Despite his neighbors not being innocent, he believed that Abraham would be killed in the war, and he would take Sarah for himself. Just like Pharaoh, who was the sole survivor among his entire army when the Egyptian army drowned after the Red Sea returned to its original state to allow the Israelites to pass through, all because of the gratitude for raising Moses in his palace. Noah understood that Og, despite being one of the Nephilim, had the same free will as all human beings. This is because there were angels who descended from heaven, took on physical form, and sinned with the daughters of men. Noah's ark saved humanity from destruction. Males and females of all species entered the ark, including birds, animals, reptiles, and insects. It took Noah 120 years to build this ark. If God could have saved the world in any number of ways, why did he choose the ark as the method of saving Noah and humanity? God wanted the flood to be cancelled if people repented, stopped doing evil. So he commanded Noah to build the ark for 120 years so that people of the flood generation would see it and ask, "What are you doing?" However, you know what happens next. The giant Nephilim and Reappear did survive the flood. And you can learn this from verses that come after the story of the flood and Noah. But at the same time it was also the beginning of their end. From the Nephilim who descended from the sky and were powerful to the giants, who were eventually defeated by Joshua. We hope you learned something new today. If you did, give this video a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content. See you next time.